Let me start recording. Okay, I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then. Okay, let's get it started. Okay, let us do a quick recap. So, what were we discussing yesterday? We were discussing about the what is Oracle. So, we know now we got to know Oracle is an RDBMS product or RDBMS tool or software. So, this I have explained to you about what is RDBMS. So when you make relational database management system, when you are making a relation between two tables or two or more tables, you call it as RDBMS. Every table has a relationship with another table, okay, to fetch data. And also it was introduced by Oracle Corporation, right? So Oracle, what is Oracle? Oracle is a collection of interrelated data combined together and placed in a database one database memory, right? So we have understood that concept with the help of SBI organization analogy, right? When you want to find the particular employee information, and you know only one thing that that employee is from SBI organization. Okay, since SBI is a very big organization, you have to start from the top to bottom hierarchy. So you just start, asking the organization, and they fetch the collection of branches. And again, under the collection of branches, you would ask for the specific employee name. Though they try to fetch in the collection of departments, then things will be fetched from top to bottom hierarchy. So only it can be done if the each and every database has a relationship between these two relationship between each other. The same thing will happen when you want to search for a specific information in a database. Each and every in a database, you divide the information in the form of tables. Okay, you divide the similar information in the form of table, and there will be somehow each and every table will be linked to each other. So that's why they are called as what? They are called as interlinked data combined together and placed in one database memory. So this is the database memory. Okay. After this, what we have discussed, if you are not using this concept, instead of using this concept, you are using a separate database for separate tables. Definitely, it is going to be very difficult for you to search, and also it is a time-consuming process, and it is very much costly to operate each and every databases, because every database is protected with user ID and password. If you want to fetch the interrelated data, it means you have to get access to the another database by using the password and user ID and password over and over again. And what else we have discussed? How many types of database systems are there? If I ask you, the answer is very simple. There are two types of database systems in the world. One is OLTP and OLAP. So we have understood what is OLTP. That is OLTP. Okay. We have understood what is OLTP, online transaction processing. Right. So to capture day-to-day activities, we use OLTP. Okay. When the application is giving you 24/7 services, those applications are called as the OLTP applications, banking services, hospital services, commercial services, and transportation services. Right? OLTP is to store high volume of data with real-time processing. We have seen some examples, and to talk to the database, you always use the short-time response queries. Oracle, MySQL Server, and MySQL. These are the examples, right? And this is what we have seen yesterday. There is a banking application, and between the front-end application, back-end application, and database application. Each and every day, they get the Oracle database. The out of memory at one point of time, the memory will be all the memory will be consumed. So you do what? You use an ETL tool, and you will transfer the data according to the schedules, job schedules, and you place it in the OLAP warehouses. OLAP is called as data warehouses, and this is going to maintain all the history. Okay, you can do that monthly, weekly, hourly basis, or monthly basis, or yearly basis, like that. Okay, and we have also understood about maintenance time. Okay? And what are OLTP tools are Oracle, you can say MySQL Server, all the databases that you are learning for the application development, they comes under OLTPs. And what are the ETL tools? ETL tools, you have ETL tools like Informatica. Informatica is one of the ETL tool. You use Informatica, right? And again, what are the OLAP applications? These are the Microsoft Analytics Service, SAP BW. These are the OLAP applications. So this is what we have discussed. Today we are going to start a new topic. Okay. What is it actually? Let us start with what is a data. We are getting into Oracle. Slowly we are getting into Oracle. So we need to understand some buzzwords in order to work with the Oracle database. Some frequently used words are there specific for the database. Okay. First of all, you need to understand what is a data source. What is a data source? What is a data source? Anything that is giving you data is called as data source. Very simple. Anything that is giving you the data is called as a data source. I can simply say like it is a place from where we get the data. If someone is asking you what is the data source, you can say it is a place from where we get the data. Usually from where we get the data, especially when you're using any online application, don't you think that this online application is capable enough to generate a lot of data? It is capable enough to produce a lot of data. Online banking application. Online banking application. Not only online banking application. If you take any apps in your mobile, whatever it is, whatever the apps that you are using, whatever the application, web application that you are using, it is going to generate a lot of data, and there will be a user, right? There will be a user. Okay, this user will input a lot of data in any particular application, right? End user. Okay, when the end user is interacting with an application, it is not only about the interaction. It is all about what? It is all about dumping some data. Definitely, you will dump a lot of data. For example, if you want to log into this application, he has to produce a data in the form of user ID and the password. Somehow that data needs to get stored in the database. Somehow that data needs to be stored in the database. Now, can I say that this online application or the end user, they are the data sources? Can I say that? I can say that, right? So the data source is a database, right? Data source. So what is a data source? It is a place from where we get the data. In this case, okay, I can say that the combination of end user and the online application, they generate a lot of data. I can call them as what? I can call them as the data source. So this is the place from where this database is getting the actual data. So this is the data source. Data source. Okay, if you want to take, if you want to understand this from a real-time analogy, you have what? Hello?
It is not visible.
You can. Ganesh, are you getting video?
Yes, sir.
Balaji, you have to rejoin Balaji, or else try to rejoin it. Because of internet issues, you might not be getting the video. That's the reason. Everyone are getting the video. Rejoin or okay. So this is what the data source is. So to understand this from the real-time analogy, just think that water. Okay. If you have a water, there are a lot of places from where you can. 1 minute. There are a lot of places like rivers, like lakes, like oceans. They are acting as what? Water sources. You have rivers, you have lakes, you have ponds, you have oceans. Oceans, because water is stored in huge amounts from rivers, lakes, ponds, and oceans, and they are acting as what? They are acting as a water source. what you usually do, you make a way to get this water to your houses or to the industries or to any commercial areas or to the places where it is actually required. 1 minute guys, someone is asking me to add in the class. Let me share him the link. It is a place from where we get the water, and you can say that okay, these are the water sources. Likewise, when you find a place from where you get the data, that is called a data source. As simple as that. Okay, these questions are very important because when you are becoming a database developer, you should have to understand what are the possible data sources that you have. Okay, that's why these things are very important, right? Let me remove this. Okay, now the second is what is data storage. You have understood what is data source. Now you should also understand what is data storage. Okay, these are the technical words. These are the very technical words. Okay, so when the data source is a place where you get the data storage is a place where we store the data. As simple as that. Data storage, okay, I can say that it is a place where we actually store the data or information. Okay, it is a place from where we actually store the data or the information. In the real world, there are three places, or that there are three types of data storages. Please be informed that in the real world there are three types of data storages. Okay, what are they? Don't you think that you can store data in pens or in the papers or in the notebooks? First thing, you can store data in the papers, in a small piece of paper or in a big piece of paper, and also you can store data in the notebooks, or you can store data in the ledgers, things like that. Let me keep it very simple. We can store the data in papers and books. Okay, so this is being done before the evaluation of computers. Nowadays also some people are using, most of us, they do store the data in the form of papers and books, but still this concept is being followed nowadays also. Okay, what is the second major thing? You can store data in the flat files. Flat files or text files. Okay, flat files or text files, it's a concept from the computers. Okay, and the third concept is you can also store the data in the database management system. So it is a full-fledged software. Okay, now if you understand the types, okay, since there are some disadvantages, to overcome these disadvantages, the concept of flat files or text files has been introduced. Okay, and there might be some disadvantages here as well, right? That's the reason why DBMS concept is introduced. Right? If you ask me, sir, from computers, there are a lot of storage devices. You are talking only about the flat files. But yes, there are a lot of storage devices, but there are some limitations. You can do only the specific things. Okay. So what is the default files in the computer, in any computer? What is the default file in any computer? What is the default file system? What is the default file system in any computer? In a computer. I can say that text file is a default file system in the computer. Text file is the default file system in the computer. Any computer, if you ask you what is a default file, text file. When I say text file, what is a text file? Okay, notepad. If let me open the notepad. This notepad is a file. Okay? This notepad is a file. If I type any text, like ABC, okay? And you do what? You use txt. You do a .txt as an extension to store this. So this is a text file. It is common for all softwares. It is common for all computers. It is common for all operating systems. Even though you download any operating system, this text file is going to be a common entity. Okay, that's why they say that this text file is going to be, this is a default file. We will understand one by one. Okay, now you see, let's try to understand the papers and books. What are how you can store data in papers and books. I don't think I need to explain this, but still I will give you some disadvantages, because when you understand disadvantages, you will get a lot of insights. Papers and books. Okay, it is a very legacy concept of storing data. This is very legacy way of storing data. Okay, whatever it is, if you have a book or if you have a paper, you will just write it down. I can say that any data that gets any data that gets written down in a paper or in a book book, it becomes a storage area. So in our day-to-day life, especially our parent generation, they purchase lot of things and they calculate lot of expenses. Especially, they track the expenses. Why they track the expenses? So that they can cut down on the things that is really expensive, that is not at all necessary. So they can focus on savings. They can cut down on unnecessary spending, and they can focus on savings, and also they can also do the budgeting, right? But there are many problems. Okay, it is going to consume a lot of space. Drawbacks. So what is an advantage of this is, I can say only one advantage is there. What is the advantage? Purchasing a notebook is very easy. Purchasing a pen is very easy. Okay, writing down the things on paper is very easy. I can say that it is very much affordable. But if you talk about disadvantages, there are several disadvantages. What are the disadvantages that I can say? I can say it is going to consume a lot of space. Okay? Space consumption, space consumption. I cannot say memory, space I can say, because it is a physical entity. Space consumption will be more. First thing. Okay, and the second thing is, updating every time manually is going to be very difficult. Updating the data manually is very difficult. Will be difficult, I can say. Will be difficult. Okay, the third thing is what? That it is you make a lot of errors. There will be a lot of human errors. You cannot trust that data. You cannot even trust that data. For example, if you are visiting a grocery store and if he is giving you the bill in the form of paper, it cannot be a legal entity. It is not a legal entity. It is not accepted in courts, or it's not accepted if you have any kind of legal issues. Okay, that thing is not a powerful thing. That is not a powerful entity, right? That's what I'm saying. So what is it? It is not a legal entity. Okay. Fourth one, you usually don't do any kind of backup. Okay, so limited backup, I can say limited backup. Okay. And the fifth thing is there will be a lot of security issues. Okay. So you maintain data in the book, definitely you're going to store some secured information, like your financial information you can store, things like that. If someone is seeing you, if someone is looking at that notebook without your permission, definitely you are exposing a lot of information to them, so security is going to get compromised, right? And the sixth one is, I can say that, time consumption. Okay. And the last one is what, it is fragile and it is prone to decay. Okay, for example, it may get damaged, it may get damages, or I can say that it has to face fragility and decay issues. Okay. When I say fragility and decay, okay, it is, the notebook may get damaged. Okay, the notebook may get damaged, or it may be torn, or teared. Right? These are the disadvantages. Okay, sir, you are saying these are disadvantages and people are still using the papers and books. What is the takeaway here? Okay, to overcome these disadvantages, back in 1950s, they have introduced what? They have introduced the concept of computers. Okay, they have introduced concept of computers. In computers, they have introduced a software called the flat file system. Second one, they've introduced a software called the flat file system. So now let us go back to 1950s to understand about these flat files or text files. Okay, second one, flat files. Why flat files are introduced? To overcome the drawbacks of the papers and books. Okay, flat files are introduced. So flat files are the default file system in the computer. In any computer back in 1950s, okay, you don't have much software, you don't have much applications, but flat file system is one of the popular application, to track expenses. Very simple. Let me open my notepad. Okay, so this is the flat file. Let me cancel. Okay, let me open my notepad. This is one of the example of flat file system. So what you can do in this in your notepad, okay, you can write data and it can be stored in your operating system. So I can say that, please be informed that you can write down the data in the flat files in the form of digital, I can say digitally, and the one advantage is you can store it. Okay, but there are some drawbacks. Okay, now you understand this drawbacks of flat file systems. Okay, these drawbacks are very important. Drawbacks of flat file system. If I ask you what are the drawbacks of flat file system, if I ask you, I would tell you in the database operating system terminologies. What are they? I would say one of the major drawbacks are data redundancy. First major drawback. The second major drawback is data inconsistency. Okay. The third major drawback is data retrieval. It will be very difficult to retrieve the data, I can say. And the fourth major drawback is data integrity. Okay. And the fifth one is data security. Okay. And the sixth one, you have the drawback like data indexing. Okay. Now we have to understand each and every word. We should get acquainted with each and every word, because you will come across these words when you are developing the database applications. Data redundancy. What is redundancy? First of all, we'll understand what is redundancy. Sir, you are saying it is a drawback. First, can you tell me what is data redundancy? Anyone has any idea about what is data redundancy? Redundancy. When something is redundant in nature, what does it really mean? Anyone has any idea? Okay, simply one word, just remember this one word. When I say redundancy, redundancy is nothing but the data duplication. Okay, redundancy nothing but what? Duplicate data, I can say. Okay, please be informed that redundancy is the duplicate data. So why you are telling this as a drawback? What happens when you make a lot of duplicate data? That is going to become a backup. Why you are saying it as a drawback? I will tell you with a small piece of example. Okay, so let me take the flat file. Let us assume that this is a flat file. Think that we are using an operating system. Just imagine that. Just assume that you are using an operating system. Okay, that was in 1950s or 1960s. We are just going back into time, and you are using one typical operating system. So Windows were not introduced in that time. So there was some other operating system that is very good enough to store flat files. Good enough to store data in the form of flat files. Think like that. Okay. What I am doing, I want to track my monthly expenses. Let us say that I am married. I am living in 1960. Okay. I have a wife and I have 2 children. Think like that. And what I want to do, I have purchased a computer. Yeah, I'm living in 1960. I purchased a computer. Okay, so I want to store data. I want to store data in the flat files. So what I am doing, I want to track my monthly expenses. Okay, so I'm writing down like total monthly expenses or monthly expenses. Monthly expenses. Right. So I'm writing it down. Okay, first serial number. Okay, the second one is what? Expenses name. Okay, and third one is what? Let me take another column like amount. Okay, and the fourth one is something like what? Let me take date of birth. Date of payment, or DOP, date of payment. Okay, under the first serial number, what I want to do, I want to write down the expenses name. So what are the major expenses that a common person can have? Milk expenses. Okay, and let me take the amount as amount is something like it is going to cost me 400 rupees. Okay, followed by the date of payment. Okay, let me take the date of payment as 01 or 02 February. Right. Second one. Okay, what are the other possible expenses that I can have? I can have the expenses like rent, room rent, house rent. Let us say that house rent is something around 1000. For the example, I am taking these rows and columns. Okay, let us say that the payment date is 01 February. First of every month I have to pay. Okay, the third expenses is, so I can say electricity bill. Okay, electricity bill. Okay, let us say that the amount is around 300 rupees. Okay, and let us say that it has to be paid before 5th of February. Let me take last column, the fourth column. Okay, let us say groceries. Let us say the grocery is going to cost me around 400 rupees. Okay, and I am maintaining an account in a grocery shop, and they generate a bill 7th of every February, every month, 7th of every month, 7th February. Okay, so now we can see there is a table, and you may be thinking that the data is completely organized and you don't have any issues with the data. That is what our thoughts are, right? Okay, let me keep it like this only. Now you see, I am going to save this file, save. Okay, I want to save this in the desktop. Focus here, guys. I want to save this in the desktop. Okay, desktop. I am keeping the name as monthly expenses. Okay, if you see, I am able to store this successfully. Let me close all this. If you see, I am able to store this successfully. It has been saved successfully. Okay, since this is my budget, my family budget, This is how I store the information. Okay, what my wife is doing, my wife is also tracking the monthly expenses. My wife is also tracking the monthly expenses. Okay, and she is also going to maintain another flat file, because in one system you can create a lot of flat files. You can create a lot of flat files. So what she thought from your side, let's her maintain another flat file so that monthly expenses can be tracked, and we can increase the savings. Without my knowledge, she is tracking the data. She's tracking the monthly expenses without my knowledge. So what she is going to do, she is going to open another file, another flat file. Okay, and she is going to do the same thing, but she is going to name it like monthly budget. Okay, the name of this file is going to be what? Monthly budget. And if you see the data is same. Both the data are same. To compare this, the data that I have and the data that my wife is maintaining, both the data is one and the same. Okay, but still my wife is able to store the same data. Okay, by in the desktop, let me store it. Still my wife is going to store the same data. Okay, if you see, I as an husband able to store the data, and my wife is also able to store the same data. But this flat file system is just like an ordinary system. It is not a high-tech system. Okay, it is not going to tell you that you are storing the same data over and over again. There is no such software. Okay, those flight file systems is not designed to tell you if you are, after making a duplicate, it is not telling you, it is not giving you an alert saying that this data has already been stored. Why are you storing the same data again? Making sense? Making sense? So I can also say that this data redundancy refers to, so this is a kind of unnecessary duplication, or this is a kind of unnecessary repetition within one system. I can also say that the same piece of information is getting stored in multiple places. So I can say that this is a duplicate. So this concept is called as what? Data redundancy. But there is a problem with the data redundancy. There is a big problem with the data redundancy. What is the problem? Most of the time inconsistency will happen. Most of the time what will happen? Inconsistency will happen. So let us say that now let us come back. My monthly expenses is being tracked by husband. Let us say that, okay, there is a fifth expensive. Okay, the expensive is what? Gasoline expensive. Okay, so you hear that the gasoline expensive is 350.00, and it has to be paid on something like 13th March. Okay, this is what you actually hear. This is what you actually hear. Okay, but your wife has misheard this, and your wife is going to store it like 5. Okay, same gasoline. Okay, your wife has misheard this. Instead of 350 rupees, she is going to save 315 rupees. Okay, and instead of 13th March, she assumed it as 30th March. If you maintain two databases, and in future, right, if you want to do a comparison, you will really not know which data is valid and which data is invalid. So there is a big inconsistency is happening here. Why inconsistency is happening here? One data is both flat files are updated with different data. If you're looking at this data in the month of March or April to calculate the budget, you really don't know. Okay, if you calculate this, you will get some value, and if you calculate this, you will get some value. There will be 35 rupees difference. So which one is true, which one is not true, that you will not understand. Making sense? So very simple. If the duplicate data is getting repeated over and over again, that duplicate data is not a big deal, but it is going to create a lot of confusion. It is going to create a lot of conflicts. You will not come to your conclusion which is the actual budget. You will end up in spending more, right? you will end up in what? You will end up in making the less payments, which is not acceptable, right? Your impression will be gone, right? So this concept is called as what? Data duplication concept is called as what? The data redundancy. If I put this in words, I can just use these words. Okay, data redundancy. What is data redundancy? Data redundancy refers to unnecessary duplication or repetition of data within a system. So when I say within a system, okay, it occurs when the same data, when same piece of information is stored in multiple areas. Information is stored in multiple areas or places. Okay. In one word, if someone is asking you, hey, what is data redundancy? Okay, what is the one word answer that you can give? Okay, very simple. Data redundancy is nothing but duplicate data. As simple as that. Right? So this is one of the disadvantages in the flat file system. So these disadvantages will be overcome in database management system. Okay, now let us understand about data inconsistency. What is data inconsistency? So actually, we are actually discussing this to understand why one has to use database management system. So that understanding will be carried only if you understand all these things. Okay, data inconsistency. Okay, let us go back to these flats files. Okay, let us go back to these flat files. Inconsistency, just I have explained about the inconsistency. What is inconsistency? Okay, this is the husband database and this is the white database in the flat file system, right? So sometimes husband may make some errors, sometimes wife may make some errors. Okay, for example, I have just said it. If the husband is trying to add, if husband is forgetting to add, for example, husband is going to add petrol expenses for his bike. Okay, and he says 100. Okay, and he says he's going to add something like, okay, 25th February. 25th February. Since husband is using the bike, so this is obviously tracked only by the husband. But do you think that wife is not aware that husband has spend some money for the petrol? Wife, she might not be aware of this, right? At the same time, wife may be having her own additional expenses. For example, let us say that wife is spending money for what? Spend money for things like what we especially call it as, yeah. Any inputs? Shopping. Okay, wife is doing shopping separately, and she has spent something like 100. Okay, and she is going to update it like 31st March. Okay. These things may not get updated in the husband database. The idea here is, if you are making changes in one database and if you think that these two databases are completely similar, if you think that the two databases are completely identical, okay, if you are making changes in one database, definitely it has to reflect here. Or if you are making changes in one database, this has to get reflect here. This is not possible in the flat file system. Why it is not possible in the flat file system? Because the software is not effectively designed. Okay, so in the real-time application, for example, if you see, okay, this you know, right? You know the family, joint account in a bank. Everyone knows what is a joint account. So what is a joint account? Husband and wife are the partners. They both can access the account at the same time. So what the bank people will do? This bank people will give each and every partner a debit card. Okay, there will be 2 debit cards under one account. There will be 2 credit cards under one account. Whatever the possible services that is being provided by the bank, okay, or the joint account especially, they get 2 debit cards. Husband and wife, they are going to get 2 debit cards. One is for husband and second one is for wife. Okay, let us say that they are making transactions in 2 different places. Okay, this is one ATM. Okay, this is another ATM. By using debit card, they are making some transactions. Okay, let us say that if there is no data consistency, say that the data is getting inconsistent, if there is no data consistency, okay, let us say that those days they are using the flat file system. They cannot maintain a separate database for the wife. They cannot maintain a separate database for the husband. Okay. For example, if they are maintaining a separate database for the wife, let us say that this is a database for the husband or wife, and this is the database for the husband. Let us say that in the joint account they have balance something like 10,000 rupees. Okay, 10,000 rupees. So since both are maintaining a separate database, just an assumption, this will not happen in the real time. So 10,000 rupees the husband does and 10,000 rupees the wife has. Let us say that this is husband data type, but they are under one account, joint account. What is data inconsistency here? Okay, if data has to get updated, even though if the wife is making transaction, the transaction has to get reflected in the husband account. For example, if the husband is withdrawing 5,500 rupees, okay, the balance is what? After withdrawal, the balance is going to be what? 9,500. Okay, definitely there should be a way to reflect this balance to the wife account. Likewise, if the wife account is withdrawing something like 500 again, okay, the end of the day balance is going to be what? After the tally, the balance is going to be 9,000 rupees, right? Okay, this has to, even though the withdrawal has been made by wife, you cannot use a separate database for the wife, because if you are using that, okay, there will be data inconsistency, because these things will not get reflected in the husband's account. Just to get reflected. If it is not getting reflected, that is data inconsistency. When it will happen? Usually when you are maintaining 2 databases, or when you are maintaining 2 file systems, or when you are maintaining two copies of monthly budget on papers. When you do that, it will happen. But instead of doing that, if you maintain only one database, the problem of inconsistency will be resolved, isn't it? Yes or no? Or else what happened if you say, if you're not using like that, okay, both are having 10,000 as a balance. Okay, husband may withdraw 500 rupees. If it is getting reflected only in the husband account, the end of the balance is 9,500. Okay, and in the wife account, the balance is still going to be 10,000 rupees. This is called as what? It is called as data inconsistency. When it will happen? When you maintain 2 data sources, when you maintain 2, what we call it as 2 data storages, not sources, 2 data storages separately. That will happen because both are not synchronized. Both are not synchronized. When I say synchronize, let us go back to this flat file system. Okay, you have a data. Okay, so husband is maintaining, husband is tracking his monthly expenses. Okay, this is the husband's data. Okay, and wife is also tracking the monthly expenses. Both are tracking for the common purpose, for the budgeting purpose. Okay, the idea is both are tracking for the budgeting purpose. There is no different purpose. The concept is same for both husband and wife. Okay, this is wife data. Right? If you maintain different files, if you maintain different flat files, there is no synchronization. There is no synchronization. Synchronization means what? If you are changing the value in one data, that should get reflected on the other. Or if you are changing some value, if you are adding some value here, okay, that value should also reflect here. Okay, this is not possible in the flat file system. Okay, if it is not possible in the flat file system, definitely there is what? There will be inconsistent data. Definitely, one or the other way, there will be inconsistent data. Right? So this will be overcome in the database management system. If you use the same concept in the database management system, you're maintaining 2 databases for the same purpose. The changes that you make in one database, for example, if you're writing 7 here, and if you are using something like snacks here, okay, you are spending some money for snacks, husband is spending some money for snacks, okay, and how much amount is spending? Okay, he is spending something like around 50 rupees, okay, and he spent this on something, the date could be like around 01 April. If this is the data entry that he has added in this database, if the data has to be consistent, this value should be synchronized enough to get updated to the wife database also. It has to happen automatically because both the databases are for the same purpose. There should be a link, there should be a synchronization between these two databases. Okay. To overcome this is a problem with flat files, but if you do the same thing in DBMS, if you do the same thing in database management system, okay, this problem will be overcome. Making sense, yes or no? What is data inconsistency? If I ask you, say something, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Right, clear, right? So now I can write it very clearly now. What is data inconsistency? I will keep this as an example since I will be sharing this to you in the form of notes. Let me write it down here. Data inconsistency. Okay, what is data inconsistency? Modification in the existing data. First of all, it is a modification in the existing data where copies or versions of the same data do not match. Do not match. Match are and they will be conflicting to each other. Because of the discrepancies. Because of the discrepancies. Okay, another real-time example I can give. Okay, sometimes nowadays what I'm doing is, see, last year somewhere I thought to save some money. I was tracking expenses. Okay, so whatever the bill I get, whatever the receipt I get, if I go to medical store, they give me a receipt, right? Receipt in the form of bill. Okay, if I go to hotel, I will be given another hotel receipt. Okay, and if I go to like some places where I spend use of shopping, I will get a receipt. If I go to hospital, I get a medical receipt. So many receipts I will be receiving. So I maintain two things. Okay, I maintained a notebook as well as I have maintained a kind of stack where I could save these receipts. The purpose here is very simple. I can use what I can apply, I can file income taxes by using the genuine receipt so that I can claim some money. I can reduce some taxes. At the same time, I maintain the receipt as well as I also write down what kind of expenses I have done. Okay, I will write it down like 120 for hotel, like 1000 for hospital. Okay, and something like 500 rupees for shopping, right? And something like 900 for something. Okay, so for let us see, for one receipt, the data is stored in the stack in the form of receipt and also in the notebook in the form of what I'm writing down in the notebook. Okay, so this is how it is. This is how it is. This is how it is. Now both are properly synchronized. One day what happened, right? I went to a tea shop and I have spent something like 50 rupees. Do you think that the tea shop owner is going to give me a receipt? No. Possibly no update. Okay, in the stack area it is not updated. And I went to chicken shop and I purchased 1 kg of chicken. It is 200. Right? And do you think the chicken shop owner is going to give me a receipt? No. So what I'm saying here is, if you are maintaining two data sources to store your expenses, to track your expenses, here my data source is a notebook and a stack. If I calculate in the end I can find, okay, this is going to be around 1500 600, 700, 1700, 2600, 2650, 750, 2770. Correct me if I'm wrong. And if you calculate all these expenses, all my receipt expenses, this will be 250 rupees less. It will be around 2000, something like 520. Right? Which one is correct, which one is wrong, I don't know. So for the small amount of data, our brain is clever enough to understand, hey, Bagar, you have used only this one, okay? But when you are dealing with big amount of data, and you want to ensure, sometimes just say that you are generating receipts for all the expenses. Even for the tea shops, you are generating the receipt. Even for the what we call it as, even for purchasing, even for buying chicken, you are generating a receipt. Sometimes you have misplaced one receipt. One receipt is missing. Let's say that this receipt has been misplaced. This receipt has been missing. So here it is going to give you 900 per 900. This is going to be 900 rupees more than this to calculate the end of the month expenses. Okay, because both are not synchronized, I'm saying. So data will be not synchronized, and there are high chances that there will be an inconsistent data. Definitely, this is going to be overcome in database management system. That's what I'm saying. When you refer to the word inconsistency, it is the most powerful word in the database world. The most powerful word in the database world, I am saying. Inconsistency, consistency. You come across this very often. Because when you are writing a query, or when you are creating a table, you will take care of this consistency part. There are a lot of concepts where you will take care of the consistency part. That is very important. Okay. So now we have understood what is data inconsistency. Now what is the third drawback? Data retrieval. What is it? Data retrieval. Focus here. Which space I can use? Data inconsistency. Let me use here the third one. Let us say that my flat file, in my flat file system, I have only 6 rows. 6 rows. Let us imagine that I am maintaining a flat file system, and my monthly budget, the indexing is going up to 10,000. Indexing is going up to 10,000 numbers. It is a very huge number. It's very huge number. If you want to find the particular specific expenses, if you want to find the specific expensive, for example, let us say that a specific expensive that I have done in the shopping mall. I want to find the specific expense. Definitely, I have to go through these things manually, one by one. Milk, rent, electricity, groceries, one by one I have to go through, so that I can track down the specific expenses that I'm looking for. So if you want to read the data specific data, it's going to be very, very difficult in the flat file. Okay, 10,000 also you can manage. Let us say that if you have 1 lakh records, let us say that if we have indexing number up to 1 lakh, okay, and if you want to find, so this petrol will be repeated over and over again. See, on the 6th index it is repeated, and again on something like on the 12th index it is going to get repeated. Okay, let us say that on 120th index it is going to get repeated. Let us say that, and again somewhere something like on 50,000 index it is going to get repeated. There will be a lot of repetitions for a particular expenses over and over again, a particular month. If you get locked out of this meeting room, please rejoin. Okay, the class will be for 10 more minutes. We'll complete this. And if you want to track down only the petrol expenses, how many petrol expenses are there? Here one petrol is there, here one petrol is there, here one petrol is there. Like that, there will be several places where we will be using petrol very often. And if you want to read that expensive, it is going to be very difficult in the flat file system. So in the aerial days, so they have come to what? They have come to a solution for this. They have come to a solution. What kind of solution? They started using the C language. C language was very famous in those days. And you have languages like COBOL, you have languages like Pascal, you have. These are the legacy programming languages. But C is the mother of all programming languages. Right? In the C programming language, there is a concept called file handling system. File handling system. Okay, so in the file handling system, there is a concept called input output streams, IO streams, they call it as IO streams. There are several methods inside the IO streams. You can write something in the flat file, and also you can write something from the read something from the flat file. If you have a flat file like Notepad, okay, by using this file handling system, if you want to write, okay, you can write something by using the write method, and if you want to read, and you can read something by using the read method. If you have a situation where you have to track down only the petrol expenses, because it is what kind of operation? It is a kind of read operation. Okay, read operation. Read operation. Right, in your flat file system, this is flat file system. Flat file FF system. Okay, you want to track petrol expenses. There will be many areas in your flat file where you would be spending money for petrol. You want to track that. How to track that? By using the C language. Okay, you need to write about 100 lines of code. You need to about write 100 lines of code so that you develop a software. Okay, you develop a software. And this software is a C software, C programming language software. This is going to get interact. Okay, this is going to establish a communication between the flat file. With the help of this 100 codes, you type something like petrol. Okay, it will list down all the petrol expenses according to your requirement. But this is a very time consuming. Do you think every computer owner in 1960s, do you think every computer owner has to learn the C language and they have to develop the software on their own and they can do all these things? It's not possible. And also those times purchasing a software is very expensive. Purchasing a computer itself is very expensive. On top of it, if you want to purchase a software on top of computer, okay, it is going to be very expensive. Again, it is like purchasing another computer. It is not possible. It is a very difficult task to do this operation, read operation. You may be thinking, sir, why we want to do all these things? I can just go through each and every line, I can read. But if it is a small piece of information or small set of records, it is very easy. But if you're dealing with huge amount of records, around 1 lakh records or 10 lakhs records, do you think that is going to be very easy? Look at your Paytm. Your Paytm or your Phone Pay or your Google Pay. If you look back the history, okay, there will be a payment for tea shop or 12 rupees. This tea shop payment will keep repeating every. If you take me as an example, I will be taking at least 7 times a day. Okay, calculate how many times I would be spending for tea monthly. Sometimes I go to consume some juices. Sometimes I go for biryani outlets. So things like that. Each and every person is creating a lot of record history every single day. Okay, if you want to take only the specific record in matter of seconds, in 1 second you want to track one record. Okay, I want to find how much money I spend for petrol. It should be time effective, right? It should not be time consuming. It should be time saving. Okay, thank you for rejoining. What I was saying, it should be time saving. So it has to be time saving. So the data retrieval is nothing but reading the data, guys. If you want to read a data, reading the data is called as data retrieval. Reading the data from the file system, reading the data from the notebooks, reading the data from the ledgers, reading the data from the paper is called as retrieval. Data retrieval. What I'm saying is, when we retrieve the required data from a file, the user has to develop an application code by code. Okay? Please be informed that when you are required to read a data from a file by using C programming language, you will have to write a lot of code which is complex. What? You keep writing a lot of code that is going to be very complex. So that is not the actual purpose. Okay? In a blink of an eye, just in a blink of an eye, you want to read the data. To overcome this, the DBS concept, DBBMS, database management system concept has come into the picture. Just by using one query, when you say select monthly, select table names. Monthly expenses is the table name from column name, petrol. Sorry. If you want to see, for example, if you want to see all the tables, just use select star from monthly expenses. This is the simple select query. Okay, where it is going to see only one line with a matter of one line. Okay, you can track all the expenses at once. If you want to give a specific query, you can write that query in only single line. Okay, you can give the column name instead of star. You can give the column name here. Okay, since you want to tag petrol, you can give a column name like select petrol. Petrol means what? Expensive. You need to give the expensives name, and you need to give the a clause like where clause. Okay, then equal to petrol. Okay, that are the SQL queries I'm talking about. By using one simple SQL query, you can find this in a matter of seconds. You can find the required information that you want to deal in a matter of seconds. This concept can be achieved only by using what? Database management system. To overcome the drawbacks that you have in the flat files, okay, so they have introduced database management system, which is going to take care of this specific requirement, data retrieval, reading the data in a blink of an eye. You just blink it, you will get the information. Not even 1 second, in a fraction of seconds you will get. Right? This is all about what? Data retrieval. So the idea is data retrieval is very difficult in the flat files, but it is going to be easy. We are going to overcome this. To overcome this, we will be writing a lot of structured query language. We will be using a lot of SQLs. Okay, SQL we will be using. Okay. Then you will understand the importance of SQL. Then you will understand why one has to go for SQL. Right? This is all about what? This is all about data retrieval. What is the next thing? Next thing we have is what? Data integrity. Now you see data integrity. Let me take it here. Data integrity. Data integrity is very simple to understand. It is not even a complicated thing. So let us go back to our tables. Okay, this is our table. Let me remove all this nonsense. Not required. Not required. Not required. These are our monthly expenses table. So when I say data integrity, what do you really mean? See, this is the column serial number. This is the column. This is tracking down the name of the expenses. This is a column that is tracking down the amount. Okay, and this is the column that is talking about the date of payment. So when you are trying to talk about data integrity, okay, you need to ensure that you are doing the proper validation. What is the proper validation? For example, let me take another column. Focus here. Let me take another column. Okay, now in this column, I want to name the column as phone number. Integrity. I want to maintain integrity for my phone number. When I say integrity, definitely we Indians know, we want to store a phone number. Can I store it like this? Or can I store it like this? Yes, you can store it. But what is the problem here? We have only 10-digit phone number. But if you store something like this, do you think that this is a phone number? No, this is a garbage. And again, this is a garbage. So the database management system has a solution to ensure that the actual data is getting collected, not the garbage. Okay, you will write, you will make sure that the data is following the data integrity. What is integrity? If you have the 10-digit phone number, it will ensure that a validation, a proper validation is being taken care, and what only the 10-digit phone numbers will be created. It can be wrong. It can be an invalid phone number. It can be a phone number that is not in a use, but that is not the case. At least the basic validation is what? Okay, we should store only the phone number with which has only 10 digits. The first level validation, which is completely valid. Right? This concept is called as what? Data integrity. Data integrity has to be maintained by every database. And one more thing, see, this column is representing serial number. Okay, and the next column is representing expensive name. Instead of expensive name, if I write it like, if I take a numerical value like something like 1000, it's not acceptable. Hey, you want to track expensive name should always be in the form of what? In the form of strings. The string means sequence of letters, but you are trying to store something that is not the actual data type. 1000. This is also talking about data integrity. And also in the place of amount, I cannot write something like what? T expensive, because this amount, this column is representing a particular data type called what? Integer data type. You cannot store the string data type under the integer data type column, because it is very specific to integer. You have to ensure that you have to be very specific in the database management system what kind of data that you are going to store. You have to specify that. If you are giving that specification, definitely don't you think that the data integration will be maintained completely? The table will be crystal clear, the rows and columns will be crystal clear, and the real data will get into this database. Do you think that this data integrity can be maintained in flat files? In the flat files, these are the problems. Accidentally, you may write down here, you may, instead of date, you may be writing down something like, a phone number you will be writing down. Instead of phone number, you will writing down what? You will writing down the serial number, like 7. This will lead to data integration issues. Right? This will be taken care by what? To overcome this, we are going for what? We are going for DBMS, database management system. So what is the point that I can write? Now data integrity is very simple to understand. To validate data before entering into the record. What is data integrity? Data integrity is a validation. It's a validation that is done before storing the data. However, flat files does not have data integrity, because flat files are not designed to say, okay, there is a violation, that is a data integrity violation. Flat files does not have that design. Whatever you write, it will take. That's it. Even if it is a duplicate, it will take. When it is a original, it will take. Even if you write something like, it just get lost, it will take. Okay, there is no such thing in the flat file system. It is just like designed to accept whatever you write. They get lost, okay, it will take. No issues. Will not answer. Even what you are doing, this is a data, this is a monthly expense. You should be writing only serial numbers here. What is this garbage? Okay, it will not give you such information. But these things can be done by using the database management system. That's what I'm trying to say. This is one of the drawback. Data integrity is one of the biggest drawback. Okay, because of this data integrity, don't you think that okay, the data will not be accurate and data is not crystal clear, the data has lot of messy things like that will happen, right? Okay. And the last, what is the other thing? Data security we have. The security. So what is data security? So I am using flat files in my computer. Okay. Tomorrow my son, he would say me, Dad, I want to purchase some books, textbooks. Okay, it is going to cost around, okay, 1000 rupees. Okay, can you give that money to me on April 1st? Okay, so this dad will be writing all the information in his flat file, 1st April. But the son is very clever. Okay, after a few days, son is logging in and son is opening this flat file. Instead of 1000, he is adding another 0. Okay, and sometimes he may be adding, instead of 1000, he may be adding like something like 2000. He come and make changes. That is possible because this particular flat file is not secured. Not secured. The son want to what he has some expense use, so he is doing this kind of malpractices every time because this is a flat file which is not secure. These things happen. This is a common thing that will happen in every house. Common thing. So security is compromised here. Security is compromised here. The dad, the father will not, calculate the exact monthly expenses. There is a compromise. Son has changed the data. Okay, so that is what security. When I talk about security, directly I can say it is not even secure. Okay? There is no security for the flat file data system. There is no security in the flat file. And what is the last one? We have last one, what? Data indexing. Okay, this is something like, this data indexing already. Let us recollect it together. When you are purchasing a book, a story book, or when you are purchasing any science book, okay, in every book there will be a concept of indexing. Indexing concept will be there. In the index, you will see all the syllabus, you will see all the topics. Let us say that there are 5 topics in the syllabus along with the page number. Let us say that you want to search for the joins topic. Joins topics is specific to SQL query language. Joins topic. It is under the index file. Joins topic. And there will be a page number given here, 65. 65. Right? So data indexing is not possible in the text files. Because whatever you have to do, you have to go through it manually. If you go to this record, you want to what? You have many records like this. You want to track the specific thing, it is going to take a lot of time. You need to see each and every data and you need to go through each and every data so that you can find the specific one. But when it comes to DBMS, that is not the case. So this is indexing concept. You want to find the joins topic, okay, there will be a page number. You will just directly go to that page number in a short period of time. If there is no indexing concept, you will have to search each and every page one by one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. You need to go till 65. On 65th page, you may be finding that. It is going to take at least 65 seconds if the indexing concept is not there. Manually, if the indexing concept is not there in the notebooks, you are going to take a lot of time. Let us imagine that if indexing topic is not there in the text files, how much time it is going to take? It's going to take a lot of time. But by using the database management system, by using the DBMS, okay, what you usually do, behind the scenes, you will create a table and you will give a numbers in the form of primary keys. You give a numbers in the form of primary keys. If you want to find a specific topics, there will be a query. You can use an SQL query in such a way that you are getting that right record. You are getting that right specific record. Let us say that the right specific record is over here. Will get that right specific record by using that particular specific query. It will take not even second, it will take fraction of seconds. Okay. Data indexing. So I can say that data indexing is just what? Searching for the right data or retrieving the right data. Right? Let me write it down here. Data indexing is retrieving the right data quickly. That's it. It is not possible in the flat files. It is not possible in the flat files. not possible with it. That's why we use what? That's why we use database management system. Okay, now we have got complete picture about what database management system. Why one has to go for database management system? Because to overcome the drawbacks that you have inside the flat file system, like now you know what is data redundancy, duplication, data inconsistency, errors, synchronization issue, errors, data retrieval is what, reading the data integrity is what, making sure that right data type is used, making sure that proper validation is happening before storing the data into the database. What is data security? Was data security is what, securing the data by protecting it with user ID and password. What is data indexing? Indexing is what, making sure that you are retrieving the right data in the short period of time with the help of indexing concepts. All these concepts we will be discussing in deep in the main database management system. Okay, so this, please get acquainted with these words: data redundancy, inconsistency, retrieval, integrity, security, and indexing. This may be looking like a small things, but in the real time, each and every topic will take at least 4 classes. This is just an idea. Now tomorrow we will understand about what is database management system. Tomorrow we will get into actual topics. Third topic, database management system. What is the software is actually, right?